Hi everyone. I have a flexispot standing desk and I've used it for about a year. It's really a nice unit and it's pretty convenient doing work and at the same time getting some exercise. Now I run into a problem after 1 year, about 800 miles I did. And what happens is that after pedaling, the pedal fell off. So I contacted flexispot and they sent me a new pedal. But the problem is I don't think that that'll work. So let me show you where the problem is. Okay, so here's the pedal. So when you look at the problem, this came about by constantly pedaling, and eventually a lot of force is being put on this particular spot there. And eventually, since aluminum, the shaft I believe is aluminum and not probably steel. I may be wrong on that, but the thread just gets busted up on both sides, on the pedal as well and on the shaft. So they sent me the pedal, but if I try to put that in, it can't go in because the thread is all busted up in there. So what I did is, this has a 3-year warranty and it's going into the first year. This might be an issue. I basically think that it's a problem with how they made it. It should be stronger shaft, like a steel. Forged steel is probably the way I would go, not throw an aluminum shaft on this. So it's kind of made for light duty, but I think that if you can go with all steel all the way through, you should be good to go there. So what I did is I ordered a couple of different shafts, and I'll show you how you could go about taking this apart and repairing the problem fairly quick. Okay, so what I did is I ordered 3 particular shafts. I'll show you the 3 here. So this one here is an aluminum shaft. This one is iron, and this one is forged steel. So let me show you what the difference between the 3 are. So if I would just get a scale here, I would put the aluminum steel in. It's 8.6 ounces. Steel is going to be 12 ounces. And this, the final one, is going to be 14.4 ounces. That's the forged steel, which is heat treated. So my choice is going to be this one here. On Amazon, this one is probably about $8. This one is also $8. This one is $16. This is a piece I'm talking about. Okay, so this is a left pedal crank. Okay, so you would need 2 of them since this unit is going to use the left pedal on both sides. Okay, so this is our choice. Now I'm going to go about removing the unit, the what do you call it, the crank handle. Okay, so what you're going to do is you can just take a screwdriver and just kind of remove this piece out. Then there's a bolt here, so what you need is a crank puller. Okay, so what we're going to do is this is pre-loosened, but what you can do is you get yourself a crank puller. You're going to rotate this back out. Screw this on. Oops, sorry. Before that, you need to remove the center bolt. Okay, so you're going to put that in. Crescent wrench. That comes out. At that point, you're going to put in the crank puller, screw that in, and then screw the center in. And using a crescent wrench, just rotate this guy out. And eventually it's just going to pop the piece out, and that's what it looks like. You could do the same thing to the other side as well. So let's rotate that guy out. And then you're gonna do the same thing on this side. So as you can see, this screw is gonna go into the outer thread, and then by rotating this is just gonna come out and push this whole mechanism back out. Make sure you don't cross thread anything. As I also stated, that it is pre-loosened, but it wasn't that bad. You could just put you might need 2 crescent wrenches just in case the wheel starts turning on you to hold it around. So you can see as you rotate, this piece falls right off. Okay. Now with my particular repair, this is going to remain open, which I found is not a big deal. It might not look pretty, but I think that it's adequate. I don't think that you need to have this in there. But if you wanted to cover it, you could probably do some kind of a cardboard or aluminum cutout that's white, and pretty much put it in there to cover it. But I chose not to bother with that. Okay. So you could also see on this one here, this thing is flexing. So eventually this whole thing's going to fall apart. Okay, so now depending on the type of pedal that you are going to be putting in, you might not be able to put this thing in here, this cover, but you could just wear sneakers in. But I will show you the items that I ordered as we go through. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to put in the crank. Okay, so at this point I'm going to put in the crank pedal arm, and these are two left crank pedal arms I purchased off of Amazon, which I will put the links on. As I mentioned, that this is forged steel as opposed to the other one that's regular steel and aluminum. Aluminum is not recommended because if you keep using it, it's eventually going to break apart. So in order to put this, what you're going to do is you are going to place this in here. Okay, the other one, of course, goes on the other side in the opposite direction. This is, by the way, this thing is 165 millimeter, which is what I recommend. They do have 170. That's about the max I would recommend, because if it's too long, it's going to hit this particular spot when you are pedaling. Okay, so 165, but the one that flexispot has on this is a 135. I don't actually like that at all because it's doesn't allow too much adjustments on the seat. Okay, so this is a square tapered crank pedal arm. Okay, so you need to look for that, but it's going to be in my link. So you're just going to place this in here. Then what you're going to do is you're going to thread this screw in, and then you are going to tighten it down until everything just goes right in there. Okay, as it's being screwed in, this whole thing gets pushed inside. Okay, so this is pretty well in it. So I'm just going to give it another little tug here to make sure it's in there, and then we're good to go. Yep. Okay, now we're going to get to the other side. It has to go exactly opposite. So you can see at this point, this is facing down. This has got to go facing upwards. Okay. So the thread side here has to be facing outwards, so that if you put it the other way, you can see it's just going to bang into this. So there's only one way that this would work, which is great. Okay, so you can see here, it's down. So we're going to go exactly opposite of that. So throw in the screw, and then we're just going to pedal. We're going to, screw this on. So as I'm screwing this in, it's a right-handed thread. It's just going to push the whole crankshaft inwards. Okay. So it's highly unlikely you would have any problems at this spot because it's pressed in. And so what you can do is you could just put these chrome plated things in there just to cover it up. Okay. So much for that. It's plastic, so I'm gonna do that later. I'm just gonna press it in with a rubber mallet, I think. Oh no, it actually worked. Okay. Okay, so it did chip off a little bit, so I would suggest you do a better way than I did. Okay, so we're gonna get the other one in. Okay, so that actually went in nice press fit. Okay, so you could see they are running completely opposite, so you could just kind of pedal. And you could see once it's set up, this would be the lowest spot. That's where it would be. So you could go slightly lower, but depending on the bottom of these, there are units that are the pedals that are a little bit different. Yeah. Okay, so now at this point, I'm going to put in the bike pedals. I'll show you a couple of choices that I have here. So this one is an Amazon Basic bike pedal. It's a boron steel shaft here, which is a hardened steel. I do have kind of a fancy one here. This one, I believe, this is also steel, but I'm not sure how durable this is. But I just decided to go the safe route by going with the Amazon Basic one. This is cheaper, and it states that this is highly durable, and it's a boron steel, as opposed to this looks like just regular steel. But I don't know. This is like double the price of this. Okay, so in order to do this, what we're going to do is I'm going to, now this side here is going to be a normal thread, right-handed thread. This, since we're putting it on the other side, it's going to be left-handed thread. Okay, so but you only need one set of this. But if you decided to get something like unique exercise pedals that fit to one particular leg, then you would need two sets of it, because it's not going to fit in exactly correct. Okay, so this is kind of unidirectional, so it doesn't really matter. Now when I'm putting this, I am going to put a little thread lock on it. So here we go. Now, in terms of trying to get into this, I would need to use a slim vise or slim crescent wrench, you can see. Or you could use one of these bicycle crescent, bicycle wrenches. Okay, but I prefer this because you can crank it much better. Now this side here is going to be a left-handed thread. Okay, so what I did is I put this pedal in. Just a little bit of a side mistake. You need two left-handed pedals, okay, because the pedals, the thread is kind of one is, since it's one's a right-handed and one's left, you need, or actually I would say both are left-handed, so you just need the screws to match. So you need two sets of pedals to work with, and then you're going to only use half of it. Okay, so at this point what we're going to do is, this is facing this way, so as a result you're going to get it to face the opposite way. I did put thread lock here, and so as a result you can see, so you have that much clearance on the bottom. Okay, since you are putting a longer 165 millimeter, it's actually more comfortable than the 135 millimeter arm that is sent with the unit. Let me show you what the comparison is. So you can see it would probably be somewhere in that range. Okay, as a result, you're getting more leg room, and then you can adjust the seat to a much better position. Next, after I do this, I'm going to show you how you could hook up a Wahoo to this unit as well. That would be the next portion of this. Okay, the last step now is to make it really useful for me and just to keep me motivated. I'm going to put a Wahoo sensor on this, both the cadence and the RPM sensors. Okay, so this would be I'm sorry, cadence and the speed sensor. So for the cadence sensor, it's going to be mounted on here, and then the speed sensor has to be mounted. This would be the only spot that you really can put on there that would make sense. Okay, so I'm just going to put some whatchamacallit, some sorry, my tongue is tied, but yeah, whatever this jigamarole Velcro strips. That's basically what it is. So we're just going to place that in here. Okay, and then I'm going to cut another strip, and then I'm going to mount it this way so that it gives a little bit of added protection so it doesn't just fly off and break away. Okay, so looks to me like you can actually, if you want, put a strip there, but it might slip off. But this should be more than adequate. Then what we're going to do is then we're going to put the cadence sensor that's going to be mounted on the inside of this. It's going to go like that. And I can put it that way. Okay, so sometimes it might be good to put two of them, two strips facing side by side. Let me see if you could see this. It's the wrong size. Okay, but it doesn't really matter. So what we're going to do is it's going to face towards the unit. Okay, I have it backwards. Okay, truly I believe that you need two pieces on here, so give me a minute. Okay, so I got the two pieces of tie wrap instead of a single. Let me just make sure that you guys can see this video. Yep, so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of angle this way, angle it this way, and it's just going to get mounted in. Okay, so looks to me like down here would have a little bit of a problem in clearance, so I'm just going to take it more towards the top. Okay, so it's pretty snug in here, and let's see, so if I rotate this, it doesn't hit anything. Okay, okay, so that's how it's going to look. Okay, and that concludes the actual repair and installation of the Wahoo on here. And at that point, you could also pop on a Polar chest strap, and then pretty much you could have all of the stuff that you see: RPM, speed, heart rate, and then you could just crank this thing until the whole thing just falls apart. Alrighty, so If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will also let you know how the Wahoo is going to be running on this. Thank you.